The sound was wrong. Not thunder, not wind, not the house settling. A small metallic tick, then another, like a latch, moving, when it did not want to admit it had moved. I was out of bed before my brain caught up. Bare feet hit warm concrete. My hand went straight to the pistol on the nightstand. Safety off. Muzzle steady. Breathing slow. Marcus called this place the glass box when we designed it. Cliffside house. Poured concrete, ballistic glass, layered locks. It was supposed to be a retirement bunker with ocean views. Safe, quiet, controlled. It was 5:42 a.m. Rain hammered the big windows hard enough to make the whole wall tremble. Lightning flashed white across the ceiling. I moved toward the ensuite bathroom, following the thin line of light spilling across the bedroom floor. The door was cracked open. Light leaked out in a narrow wedge. Under that wedge, I saw movement. Not a shadow swinging in the wind. The precise, careful shift of someone trying to be quiet. I pushed the door open with the barrel of my gun. She was crouched at the sink. Shoulders hunched, dark hair heavy and dripping from the storm, not fresh from a shower. A wet jacket lay in a heap on the tile. Boots beside it, laces half undone, leaving narrow, muddy puddles. The medicine cabinet was open. Bandage wrappers were scattered across the counter like torn paper snow. She did not scream when she saw the gun. She froze. Both hands stayed visible, one palm pressed to a wad of gauze at her side. Red soaked through it in slow, stubborn dots. Her eyes met mine in the mirror. Sharp. Awake. Exhausted. "Don't shoot," she said. Her teeth were chattering, but her tone was a command, not a plea. "Relax. I needed a safe place." My aim did not drop. "Explain why you are in my house," I said. I did not have time to be polite. She nodded toward the open cabinet. "I slipped on your stone steps," she said. "I am trying not to bleed all over your sink." I swept the room fast. No weapon in her hands, no flash of metal in easy reach, no second figure behind the door. My mind still mapped exits and angles out of habit. "How did you bypass the retina lock?" I asked. She swallowed and tilted her chin toward the mirror like it hurt to move. "Silas," she said. That name hit like a code phrase. Silas Hart. Financial analyst. Protected witness. The man I had moved into a safe house 6 weeks ago after he tried to blow the whistle on the Caswell group. "He is locked down," I said. "He does not give access codes." "He does when his sister is being hunted in a hurricane," she answered. She lifted her bleeding hand a little. "I did not come for your secrets, Kaylin. I came for your walls." Lightning washed the room again. For a second I saw more than wet clothes and gauze. I saw the hard lines in her throat, the bruise blooming under the skin at her wrist, the kind you get from fingers digging in, not from a fall. She saw my eyes catch it and yanked her sleeve down fast. That told me what I needed. "You are shaking," I said. "I am fine," she lied. Her teeth clicked once. I flicked the safety off anyway. "Where is your team?" I asked. "I do not have one," she said. Her gaze held mine, stubborn and angry. "Caswell does." Quote. I listened, not to her, but to the house, to the storm, to the soft gaps between thunder where you could hear another human move. There was nothing, but nothing could be a lie, too. "Stand up," I ordered. "Slow. Hands where I can see them." She rose, unsteady from cold more than fear. Rainwater dripped from her sleeves and pooled at her feet. She kept her palms open like she understood my language. "I am not your enemy," she said. "No," I replied. "You are the reason my enemy found me." She flinched at that, then her jaw set. "Then you already know what they want." "I know what they always want," I said. I jerked my chin toward the bedroom. "Go sit on the edge of the bed," I said. "Do not reach under anything." "You are giving orders like I am the threat," she said. "I am giving orders like I am still alive," I answered. She walked past me into the bedroom. As she did, her scent brushed past me. Wet cedar, rain, and something clean under it. Jasmine, light and real. not heavy perfume, more like soap from a life that used to be normal. She sat on the edge of the bed. She did not curl into herself. She planted her feet and kept watching me like she was taking notes. I shut the bathroom door, hit the light, and crossed to the wall panel. Exterior cameras, motion grid, thermal perimeter, all the tools I trusted more than people. The screens flashed, stuttered, then went black. The power was not out. The bedside lamp still glowed warm. This was not a storm knock. This was a cut. Clean. Intentional. My throat went tight. "How long ago were you followed?" I asked. Her voice came low from the bed. "From the city," she said. "I lost them twice. Then the storm came. Then your driveway lights turned off." That sounded like Marcus's work or someone trained by him. I stepped closer, pistol still up, but lowered an inch. Enough to show her I had heard her, not enough to comfort her. "You said you slipped," I said. "How did you really get that bruise?" Her jaw clenched. "One of them grabbed me when I climbed your fence," she said. "So they were here, or had been." I crossed to the closet, pulled out a dry hoodie and a pair of thick socks, and tossed them onto the bed beside her. "Put those on," I said. "Over your clothes. Keep your shoes close." She stared at the hoodie like it was some kind of test. Then she dragged it on, arms sliding into the sleeves, eyes never leaving my face. "Why are you helping me?" she asked. "Because you are already in my blast radius," I said, "and because Silas trusted you enough to send you here." Her throat moved. "He said you keep your promises," she whispered. "I keep contracts," I corrected. She almost smiled at that, but it did not reach her eyes. Thunder rolled. Under it, softer, I heard an engine. Low, controlled. Too slow for someone lost in the storm. "They are here," she said. I did not answer. I just moved. I killed the main lights with one switch. The house dropped into darkness, except for thin emergency strips along the floor. I guided her behind the kitchen island, staying just ahead of her so she could follow my shadow. "Stay low," I said. "If you move, tell me first." She nodded once. Small, sharp, sure. I checked my phone. No signal. Jammer. I grabbed the hardline handset from the pantry wall. Dead. Either cut or spoofed. The storm would hide the sound. Outside, boots hit stone. Not running. Spaced out. Professional. A knock came on the side service door near the utility room. 2 quick taps. Calm. Trained. A man's voice carried through the storm. "Miss Hart," he called. "We can do this easy." Elena's breath hitched. She pressed her hand to her mouth, then dropped it again like she refused to look scared. I leaned close enough that my words brushed her ear. "If they call your name, do not answer," I said. "I will not," she whispered back. The lock on the service door beeped once, then again. Someone was feeding codes into my keypad like they owned it. I touched Elena's shoulder. One small tap. "Pantry," I said. "Now." She moved with me fast and low. I slid her into the pantry and stepped in after her, pulling the door until the latch barely caught. We were in darkness with the smell of coffee, flour, and canned food all around us. Under the crack at the bottom of the door, I saw a thin stripe of light cut across the floor. The beeping stopped. The metallic pop that came next was sharp and clear. They were inside. The metallic pop echoed through the walls like a small bone breaking. They were inside my perimeter. In the dark pantry, Elena's shoulder brushed my arm. I felt the shake in her muscles before I heard it in her breath. She was cold, not weak. I kept my eyes on the thin slice of light under the door. Boots moved across my kitchen. Slow. Careful. Not searching like amateurs, clearing like professionals. One pair circled wide toward the back door. Another passed so close I could see the shadow of a leg in the light line. "House is bigger than it looked," a low voice said. "Stay on grid," another answered. "She is here. Hart is not smart enough to make it this far alone." Elena's chest rose and fell faster beside me. Her hand moved, then stopped. She did not grab me. She curled her fingers into her own hoodie instead, like she refused to ask for comfort she had not earned. They opened cabinets. A drawer slammed. A chair scraped. I counted the steps. 1 by the fridge, 1 near the hall, 1 by the service door, 3 men inside, maybe more outside. They did not call my name. That told me they were here for her, not to talk to me. After what felt like an hour and was probably 6 minutes, one pair of boots came back to the kitchen. "Not here," the low voice said. "Storm will flush her if she runs." We cut power again, hit the cameras, tighten the circle. "What about the owner?" the second man asked. "Asset or collateral?" the first one said. "Depends on his choices." Elena's jaw tightened in the dark. She heard it all. The boots moved away. The service door beeped again. Then it shut. Then, finally, silence. Just rain and wind and my own heartbeat. We waited another full minute. Then another. I finally opened the pantry door a crack and looked out. The kitchen was empty. The emergency floor lights glowed faint and steady. The main lights were still off. A thin trail of wet prints marked where they had walked. "Come on," I said quietly, slow. Elena followed me out. Her hand brushed the counter for balance. I noticed the way she stayed low on instinct, not because I told her. Good habit. "They will be back," she said. "Yes," I said. I did not sugarcoat it. She lifted her injured hand and looked at the dirty gauze. "Can I at least stop leaking all over your house?" she asked. "Sit," I said, pointing to a bar stool. "Kitchen table. Do not move until I tell you." "Yes, sir," she muttered, but she obeyed. I pulled the first aid kit from the cabinet above the fridge. Clean gauze, alcohol, tape. I washed my hands, then stepped between her knees so I could reach her side. I smelled rain and soap and fear fighting not to show itself. "Pull the hoodie up," I said. She peeled it up just enough to expose the bandage. Her skin was cold to the touch. I peeled the wet gauze away. The cut on her side was shallow, but long. It had started to clot, then opened again when she climbed and ran. "This was not from my steps," I said. Her mouth twitched. "Wire on a fence," she said. I tried to go over it. They tried to pull me back. Quote, "I cleaned the cut with steady hands. No gentle talk, no empty comfort, just work." She hissed once when the alcohol hit, then set her jaw and stared at the far wall. "You hold still," I said. "I am holding," she answered. I taped fresh gauze over the wound, tight enough to keep pressure on it, not tight enough to choke it. Then I crouched and checked the scrape on her shin. Glass and concrete, skin torn, not deep. I cleaned it too. She pressed her lips together and breathed through it. "You patch gunshot wounds this way too?" she asked. "Yes," I said. "Ever thought about a softer job?" she asked. "This is my soft job," I answered. Her eyes flicked to my face, almost amused, but the storm still rattled the windows and kept everything sharp. By late afternoon, the house felt like a lung that would not fully exhale. The power flickered once, then settled. Another test. I brought my laptop to the kitchen island and plugged in one of my hardened drives. Elena reached into her jacket and pulled out a small flash drive. "This is what they killed a man for," she said. "Who?" I asked. "A junior analyst at Silas. Firm," she said. "He is the one who found the ledger first. They made sure everyone could see what happens when you look too close." She slotted the drive in and opened a file. Numbers filled the screen. Clean lines. Dirty money. "Caswell moves money through fake charities," she said. "Then through a real estate trust. Then through a law firm. It looks legal if you do not look long." "Names," I said. "I am pulling them," she answered. "Give me time." I watched her hands move across the keys. Fast, but precise. No wasted movement. She was tired, but her brain was still cutting through lies. "You eat today?" I asked. She blinked, like the question did not fit. "Not since yesterday morning," she said. I opened a cabinet, pulled out a box of pasta, a can of tomatoes, olive oil, garlic, some dried basil. Nothing fancy. Fuel. "You are cooking," she said, surprised. I am feeding you, I corrected. You are bleeding and you are cold. She watched me fill the pot with water and set it on the stove. She did not argue. That said more than any words. Knife, she said suddenly, holding out her hand. I handed her my chef's knife, handle first. She moved to the cutting board and started chopping an onion. Quick strokes, knuckles tucked, blade steady. You know your way around a knife, I said. I grew up with brothers, she said, and I do not panic well. I have to do something. The corner of my mouth almost lifted. Good, I said. She glanced at me, then back at the onion. You are still here, she said quietly. I did not answer that. I opened a drawer and grabbed the salt. When I passed it to her, our fingers touched for half a second. Just skin on skin. Heat went straight up my arm like someone had flipped a wrong switch. My pulse jumped once, fast and stupid. She felt it too. I saw it in the quick flash of her eyes, but she did not drop the salt. She just shook a pinch onto the onion and kept working. Outside, something hit the outer wall. A dull thump. Maybe a branch. Maybe a man checking for hollow spots. I turned my head, listened. The storm swallowed the details. Elena did not ask if I was scared. She stepped closer to the island so she could see both doors. We ate at the counter with the overhead lights off. Only the under-cabinet glow and the storm's white flashes lit the room. The pasta was simple but hot. She curled her cold fingers around the bowl like she was holding proof she was still alive. They killed that analyst for this, she said between bites, nodding toward the laptop. We finish it, I said. She looked at me. We finish it, she agreed. Night came down hard. The glass turned into black mirrors. I moved through the house again. Checked every lock, every blind spot. Elena followed a few steps behind, quiet and alert. We reached the living room. The curtains were closed tight over the floor to ceiling windows. I kept them that way. No silhouettes, no easy targets. She reached for the edge of the curtain. I caught her wrist. Not rough. Firm, a warning. Do not, I said. Her eyes met mine, not offended, not afraid, just pushing back. She slowly eased her hand from my grip and opened the curtain an inch anyway. Just a sliver, just enough to see the storm clawing at the glass. I need to see, she said. If I can see it, I can handle it. I wanted to yank the curtain shut. Instead, I watched her set a small ceramic bowl from my pantry on the table under the window. Something useless, human. A tiny piece of normal in a room built for defense. She had just changed the space without asking permission. I did not stop her. You live like you are waiting for impact, she said softly. I live like impact is predictable, I said. She did not ask what that meant. She walked to the bookshelf, found the one frame I kept face down, and turned it upright. A photo. Old. I saw it in the reflection. I did not take it away from her hands. Later, when the temperature dropped, the concrete floors pulled the heat right out of the air. The storm was still loud, but the house had gone quiet. Elena sat on the rug near the cold fireplace, arms wrapped around herself. Her bandaged hand rested on her knee. Her shoulders shook once. I went to the hall closet and pulled out the heavy wool blanket my mother had mailed years ago. It still smelled faintly like cedar. I sat down behind Elena and opened the blanket wide. Come here, I said. She hesitated. Pride. Habit. Then she leaned back until her shoulder touched my chest. Not collapsing. Choosing. I wrapped the blanket around both of us, tucking it around her so the edge crossed her front and under her elbow. I made sure her injured palm had room so it would not press into rough wool. You did that without looking, she murmured. I notice things, I said. That must be exhausting, she said. It has kept me alive, I answered. She turned her face enough that I could see her eyes in the low light from the emergency strips. They were tired, but clear. What happens when there is nothing left to fight? She asked. I did not give her a speech. I reached forward, dropped another log into the cold fireplace, and lit it. Watched the flame catch and slowly pushed the chill back. When the fire was going, I got up, boiled water, and made tea. Peppermint. The only kind I had. I handed her the mug. No words. Just heat. She wrapped both hands around it. Her fingers brushed mine again. This time, neither of us pretended not to notice. We just let the contact sit there for a second before I pulled away. Outside, far off, an engine started and stopped again. Someone waited in the storm. Elena stared into the fire. "I am not safe anywhere," she said. "Not with them out there. Not with this drive in my pocket." I watched the flames and let myself say one small truth. "I do not like losing people under my roof," I said. "Not after the last time." Her head turned. Her hand left the mug and settled lightly on my forearm through the blanket. A clear, careful touch. "Then, do not lose me," she said. My breath caught. The storm roared against the glass. The fire popped. Her hand stayed on my arm like a promise and a dare at the same time. I did not pull away. By morning, the storm had changed. The rain was still there, but it was softer now, more steady than violent. The sky outside the glass looked like wet concrete. Inside, my house smelled like coffee, wet wool, and the last of the peppermint tea. Elena was awake before me. When I came back from a quick sweep of the lower floor, I found her at the kitchen island with my hardened laptop in front of her. Her hair was pulled back in a rough knot. She had Silas's flash drive plugged in. Her bandaged hand rested flat on the counter while the other flew over the keys. "I got it," she said, not looking up. Her voice shook once, but not from fear. From something close to anger. "This is the spine. The master trust. It ties every shell company back to the core." I came around the island and stood beside her. Lines and numbers filled the screen. Names, transfer paths, dates, payoffs. It was like looking at an X-ray of a very sick body. She pointed to a column. "Caswell uses fake charities," she said. "Then they route money through a real estate trust. Then into a law firm. It all looks clean until you follow this line here." Her finger slid down to the officer's list. My eyes hit the third name and stopped. Marcus Thorne. I felt the change in my own body. A tiny cold drop in my chest. The world did not tilt, but the floor felt different. Elena's voice faded. "Kaylin," she said, "you know one of them." I stared at the screen one more second, then straightened. "Marcus," I said. My voice came out flat. "He is my business partner. He is the one who helped design this house. He used to be my company." Elena's eyes widened. "He built your locks," she said slowly. "He helped me choose them," I answered. Before she could say anything else, the house made a sound. A soft click deep inside the wall like a throat clearing. Then, the intercom came to life. "Cale," a calm male voice said. "Marcus, open up. This does not have to be ugly." Elena went still. Her eyes flicked to the ceiling speakers, then to me. "He can talk through your house," she whispered. "He can talk through my life," I said. I hit the wall panel. The main screen was dead. No camera feed. No grid. Marcus had cut me out of my own system. "Elena," I said, turning to her, "listen carefully. If I say, blue tide, at any point, you run. You do not wait for me. You go for the spare exit and you keep going until you hit a road with people." Her hand shot out and grabbed my sleeve. "No," she said, "that is not enough. Tell me the plan." I looked at her, really looked. Hair messy, hoodie hanging off one shoulder, bandaged palm, eyes clear and steady. Not cargo, not a witness to drag, a partner. "The plan is we do not let him separate us," I said. "He knows I work better alone. He will try to pull you away." "Then we do not let him," she said. Her grip on my sleeve tightened once, then loosened, but her fingers stayed there. Out in the hall, Marcus's voice came through another speaker, smooth as always. "You know how this goes, Cale," he called. "You hand over the girl and the drive and you keep breathing. You try to be a hero, and this cliff becomes your grave." I ignored him. "Elena," I said, "take the drive." She yanked the flash drive out of the laptop and shoved it deep into her hoodie pocket. Then she zipped it up to her throat. Boots thudded somewhere near the side of the house. A faint whine of metal told me someone was working on another lock. "Utility room," I said. "Now." We moved together down the hall. I cleared corners with the gun up. She stayed just behind my shoulder. When we hit the turn by the mudroom, the sound changed. Not rain, not wind. The heavy crunch of a spreader tool biting into a frame. Back, I hissed. Too late. The side door exploded inward. Not blown, forced. Two men in rain gear and face shields came through low and clean. Their boots hit the tile at the same time. The first one raised a pistol. I fired. One shot, center mass. He dropped like someone had cut his strings. The second man swung a baton at my head. I ducked, grabbed his wrist, twisted until the joint locked, and slammed his face into the doorframe. He folded with a grunt and slid down the wall. Behind me, a third figure moved in the doorway, gun up. Elena moved before I could. She grabbed the cast iron pan off the stove and swung it with her good arm. The pan crashed into the man's forearm with a sick crack. His gun flew out of his hand and skidded across the tile. He swore and reached for it. I got there first. I kicked the weapon away, then shoved him hard into the counter. His head hit with a dull thud. He stayed down. I looked at Elena, breath loud in my own ears. "You okay?" I asked. "I am fine," she said. Her voice shook, but there was steel under it. "Finish it." "We are not done," I said. "We are moving." We stepped over the fallen man and cut through the hall to the back of the house. The panic room sat behind the utility closet. In the wall, it looked like any other reinforced door. Inside, it was steel and concrete and no windows. I spun the wheel and shoved the door open. "In," I said. Elena slipped past me. I stepped in after her and spun the wheel back. Heavy metal bolts slid into place with a deep, solid thunk. Inside, low emergency lights came on. The room was small, but strong. Lockers lined one wall. A bench sat in the middle. A control panel glowed faint near the door. I went straight to it and hit the main switch. Nothing. No camera feed. No outside line. No security override. "He killed your panic room," Elena said softly. "He built it," I answered. "Of course he did." We were safe from bullets for a while. We were not safe from pressure. Elena's gaze moved around the room. Vents, bolts, corners, floor. You could almost see her running calculations in her head. Her eyes caught on the lower wall near the back corner. The floor there was not smooth steel. There was a thin seam running along the base like a crack in a perfect surface. "What is that?" she asked. I crouched and ran my hand along it. My fingers found a small metal lip. I hooked it and pulled. A narrow surface panel came loose with a quiet scrape, revealing a dark gap between the panic room wall and rough rock. Cold, damp air flowed in. It smelled like stone and salt and storm water. I remembered it now. A technical chase built years ago for cable runs and drainage. Marcus had called it extra redundancy. I had shrugged and said yes. "Does it go anywhere?" Elena asked. "It runs behind the utility spine," I said, toward the breaker box and the old comms junction. She looked at the opening. It was not wide, just enough for a slim body to squeeze through, not enough for mine. "You cannot fit," she said. "No," I said. She did not look away. "I can," she said. The outer door shook under a heavy hit, muffled through steel but clear. Marcus was testing the hinges now. "Elena," I said, "if you go in there, you might not get back fast. If you stay, he will take both of us when he gets this door open." "If I stay, we have no way to call anyone," she said. Her voice was calm. "If I go, we have a chance." She dropped to her knees and pulled more trim off with her hands, widening the opening by an inch. Her hoodie rode up. I saw the fresh wrap on her side, the bruise on her wrist. The dirt from the storm smeared across her jeans. "Tell me what to do," she said again. I forced my brain to calm. "You crawl until you hit a bundle of cables," I said. "You follow them. They will take you toward the utility closet. There is a small hatch behind the washer. It is latched from the inside. You can pop it with a flat bar from the tool bucket in the corner." She nodded once, taking it all in. "If you make it to the breaker," I continued, You flip main B to override. That will trigger the emergency dialer and reboot the security grid. It will call real police, not my private network, and it will turn all the cameras back on. And you? She asked quietly. I hold the door, I said. Another heavy blow hit the outer steel. The frame vibrated under my hand. Elena reached out suddenly and grabbed my wrist. Her hand was warm from the blanket earlier, from the tea, from being alive. "Kaylin," she said, "look at me." I looked. She lifted her uninjured hand and set it lightly against my jaw, fingers steady, thumb near the corner of my mouth. A simple, sure touch. Then she leaned in and kissed me. It was not soft and dreamy. It was quick and firm. A collision of mouths, heat and fear, and choice all in one heartbeat. When she pulled back, her eyes were bright but steady. "Do not you dare die while I am crawling through a wall," she said. My chest tightened. I exhaled once. "Go," I said. She turned and slid feet first into the dark gap. Her shoulders scraped the stone. She grunted once and pushed. In a few seconds, only her boots were visible. Then, they were gone. I pulled the panel back as close as I could to hide the opening and turned back toward the door just as the outer lock screamed. "Metal on metal." Marcus was cutting through. The scream of metal went through the panic room like a knife. It started as a sharp whine, then dropped into a low grind. Heat. Cutting torch or a thermal lance. Marcus was not trying codes anymore. He was burning through the steel. I stood with my back to the inner door, gun up, breathing slow. The emergency lights made everything look pale and flat. My ears strained for something else. A scrape in the wall behind me. Then, another. Elena, moving through the narrow gap. I pictured her in that dark space. Concrete to one side, rock to the other, crawling toward a breaker box she had never seen, just because I said it was there. The cut grew louder. Liquid metal hissed. Sparks fell somewhere on the other side of the door. Then, even through the solid wall, I heard his voice. Calm. Familiar. "Kale," Marcus called. "You are making this harder than it has to be. Hand over the drive, hand over the girl. You walk away." Quote. I did not answer. My voice was for Elena now, not for him. He laughed once low. "You always liked lost causes," he said. The cutting stopped for a moment. Then, a heavy kick hit the weakened section. The door bowed inward. Another kick. A line of orange showed along the seams. I shifted my stance. Knees bent, arms loose but locked in. If someone came through that opening, they were going to meet my barrel first. Time stretched. Then, in the distance, faint and muffled by concrete, I heard an electrical click. A hum rose through the floor. A deep thud shook the air. The panic room lights flickered once, then brightened. The dead control panel at my shoulder snapped awake. Status icons flashed. Cameras reconnected. And somewhere in the house, a modem dialed out on a line Marcus had never touched. Sirens answered. Very far at first. Then, closer. Relief hit so hard it felt like a threat. My body wanted to sag. I did not let it. The cut line in the door glowed again. Marcus was still coming. Police or not, he wanted control. A section of steel near the center gave way under another kick. A rough opening tore open with a scream. A man stepped through in a rain jacket, visor, rifle in his hands. He filled the space, big, calm, deadly. I fired twice, center mass. In the confined room, the shots were like punches to the skull. My ears rang. The man dropped without a sound. His rifle skidded across the floor and hit the far wall. Something burned along my upper arm. Heat and wet. A round had grazed me, on the way through. It stung, but my hand stayed steady. I waited for a second man. There was always a second. Nothing. All I heard now was the distant echo of sirens and the rough scrape of someone in the wall behind me. "Elena," I said, voice harsh. "You still movin'?" A dull thump answered from the other side of the concrete. Then another. I let out a breath I did not know I was holding. Outside the panic room, I heard Marcus again, closer now. No intercom this time, his real voice in the hall. "You shot my guy," he said. "That is a problem, Cale. You brought him into my house," I called back. "That is a bigger problem." Sirens howled closer. Tires on wet gravel, shouted commands, engines idling. Marcus was running out of time. He knew how fast police responded to an active alarm. He had trained me on the same numbers. He tried one more card. "You think they will believe you?" he said. "Your name on the plans, your gun on the floor, 3 bodies in your hallway, her on a drive full of crimes. You think Caswell does not have friends in uniforms?" He was right about one thing. Caswell had reach, but he was wrong about something else. He did not know about the ledger. He did not know about Silas. He did not know about the woman crawling through the wall who had just turned my dead system into a live witness. Boots pounded on stone outside. Radios crackled. A voice shouted through a bullhorn. "County Sheriff, hands where we can see them. Step away from the residence." Marcus cursed under his breath. "Cale," he called, "last chance. You walk out with me. Nobody has to write a report." "I am done walking out with you," I said. He was close now. I could feel it. One more hit on the half-cut panic room door, and it would bend enough to pull open. Before he could, the utility closet door outside banged open. "Elena?" a deputy barked. "I am here," she said. Her voice shook now, finally, but it was loud and clear. "Do not shoot. I am unarmed. There is a man with a gun in the main hall. His name is Marcus Thorne. He works for Caswell. There is a ledger on a drive that proves it." The hallway exploded into sound, shouted commands, boots repositioning, the metallic click of more than one rifle being raised. "Cale!" a new voice yelled. "Sheriff by the sound of it. You in there?" "Yes," I answered, armed, friendly. "One hostile in the hall. Name," confirmed Marcus Thorne. "My hands are up." I set my gun on the bench, palms open, then backed away from the door. Police controlled the next moves now. That was fine. I was tired of being the only wall. "Step away from the door," the sheriff called. I did. The wheel spun from the outside. Marcus had not finished his cut. He had lost his chance. The sheriff pulled the panic room door open in one hard move, then stepped back, weapon up. Another deputy took his flank. I raised my hands higher. Eyes on them, not on Marcus. They swept the room, confirmed the downed man on the floor, then moved past me into the hall. I saw Marcus then, hands lifted, jaw tight. Red dots from police rifles danced on his chest. His eyes found mine over their shoulders. He looked hurt, betrayed, like I had broken some private code between us. "You know how this works," he said, voice low. "You take the blame, you keep breathing. That is the job." "No," I said. "That was your job. Mine is different now." They cuffed him behind his back. Cold steel on warm skin. He did not fight. He just stared at me like he did not recognize the man standing still with empty hands. Elena stood near the utility closet door. She was covered in dust from the conduit, hair tangled, face pale, her bandage peeked from under the hoodie. There was grime on her jeans and a thin cut on her cheek. She had never looked more alive. I walked to her slowly. A deputy stepped between us at first. I raised my hands, palms open, showed him I was not trying to interfere. When he stepped aside, I closed the last bit of distance. I did not grab her. I put one arm around her shoulders, light pressure, ready to let go if she pulled away. She did not pull away. She leaned into me for one short second, forehead against my collarbone. One breath, two. Then, she straightened again like she refused to stay folded. "You did it," I said quietly. "I told you," she answered, voice shaking and proud at the same time. "I do not panic. I just crawl faster." I almost laughed. It came out as a broken exhale instead. Silas walked free a month later. The ledger Elena pulled, and the drive Silas had hidden in my safe, did what they were supposed to do. Names went into reports. Agents with badges showed up at Caswell's main offices. Men who thought they were untouchable learned what concrete cells feel like. Elena testified twice. Once for the state. Once for federal investigators. She walked into those courtrooms in simple black blazers and clean lines. She spoke clearly. She did not let any attorney twist her into a story that was not real. When a defense lawyer tried to call her emotional, she lifted her chin and said, "I am not emotional. I am accurate." It shut him down faster than any objection. After the last hearing, she met me on the courthouse steps. The storm was long gone. The sky over the city was sharp blue. People moved around us with their own problems, their own cases, their own lives. She held a slim folder in her hand. "Come with me," she said. Her office was on the 10th floor of a glass building that looked nothing like my cliff house. Clean lobby, quiet elevator, bright hallway. The sign on the door was new. Silver letters on dark glass. "Heart and Lock Risk Analysis," it said. I stared at it. My throat tightened. "That is aggressive," I said. "It is honest," she replied. Inside, the place still smelled like paint and new carpet. Desks stood empty, waiting for staff. A big map of financial districts hung on one wall. Wires for monitors stuck out of a half-finished conference room. She walked to a simple wooden desk by the window and set the folder down on it. Then she pushed it toward me. "Partner agreement," she said. I opened it. "Read the first page." She had named herself founder and principal. She had listed my role as co-founder and head of security operations. The terms were clean. No hidden traps. No leverage games. "You want me as a partner," I said. "I want you as the person who keeps the walls up," she said, "and the person who tells me when I am about to run into one." "You do not owe me anything," I said. "I am not paying a debt," she answered. "I am choosing who stands next to me." The words landed heavier than any contract language. I thought about the night in my bathroom, the sound of her teeth chattering, the way she pressed her palm to a cheap wad of gauze and told me to relax while she bled into my sink. I thought about her crawling through cold stone with my instructions in her head and Caswell's men at my door. I picked up the pen and signed. Lena let out a small breath, like she had been waiting for that more than any verdict. Then she walked around the desk and stopped close to me. Her hand lifted. 2 fingers pressed lightly against my chest, right over my heartbeat. "Still alive?" she asked, a small smile tugging at the corner of her mouth. "Still here," I said. She nodded once. Mutual acknowledgement. When she kissed me this time, there was no storm outside. No sirens. No metal screaming under pressure. It was slow, warm, clear. A choice, not a reaction. I slid my hand to her waist, fingers resting lightly at the small of her back. She stepped closer on her own. Her hands went up to the sides of my face, thumbs brushing my jaw. When we broke apart, we stayed close. Her forehead hovered against mine. "Welcome to Heart and Lock, Kaylin," she said softly. I let a rare smile show all the way. "Welcome home, Elena," I said. Outside the windows, the city kept moving. Deals were being made. Lies were being written. Somewhere, someone was planning to hide money in a fake charity and hope no one ever looked. Inside that office, with her hand still on my chest and my name on her door, I knew better. They were going to look. We both were. Together.